So I will pronounce this word as Google told me. If I am mispronouncing it, I'm sorry. My first language is Spanish. But today, in the most transformative podcast in the multiverse, we are going to discuss, and also I'm going to show you how to implement this idea in personal development. And the protagonist of the podcast of today, wait for it, baby, wait for it. Let's see if you can understand how I pronounce this key word that will revolutionize your personal development game today. We are going to speak about the Pareto's law. Paretos, 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 Paretos. The Pareto's law. I don't know why it sounds so crazy in English. In Spanish, it's so easy. In Spanish, is la ley de Pareto. La ley de Pareto. In English, Pareto. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the episode 619 of the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2. My name is Dr. Derek Israel. I'm a clinical psychologist, entrepreneur, life coach, and a lot of more things. And if you like this content, subscribe. I am uploading podcasts like crazy every day. This is basically okay. So I was reading a couple of days ago that most podcasts do not have more than 50 episodes, like most podcasts. And we have 600 something. So I'm very proud of the work that we are doing here. This is the most transformative podcast in the world. I'm pretty sure about it. And if you don't believe it, just watch a couple of episodes and discover it for yourself. So this episode in particular is an episode that I was about to speak a long time ago, but I have been procrastinating this episode. I don't know why, because it's so important for personal development. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe I was lazy to speak about it. Exactly with the previous episode, very similar to the previous episode that I recorded about key performance indicators. If you haven't listened to that one, you can check them out. You can check that out after this one. But these two episodes, I have been procrastinating them, although I use them all the time. And so many people tell me, Derek, but I don't know. I listen to your podcast, I practice your things, but I don't seem to be growing as you are growing, like that quickly. What I'm doing wrong. And sometimes the difference between you and me is not in the activities itself. Maybe you meditate, maybe you read books, maybe you do yoga, maybe you do fitness and martial arts, and you are working on your personal development and you are working on your relationships. You are pushing to master sex, you are pushing to master enlightenment, law of attraction, law of projection, your shadow work. You are working with your archetypes, with the king, with the queen, with the shadow, with the lover, with the magician. You are doing all the stuff and more. You are doing your magic, your tarot, your astrology, your psychedelics, your pranayama. You are doing a lot. Maybe not exactly as me, but you are doing your own things, even things that I don't do, right? But maybe what you are not doing is focusing on key performance indicators. I told you in the last episode that those are measures that we can use in order to track our personal development, to have a specific objective that show us if we need to manipulate or change our direction Maybe you are not establishing key performance indicators. And the other things that you may be not doing is working with the Pareto's law, working with this law that I will teach you. And if you work with this law, if you implement this law in your personal development, you will grow as hell exponentially, more quick that if you don't know about the law and you don't do it. So the Pareto's law is a mathematical law, and basically what it says is that 80% of the results comes from only 20% of your actions. 80% of your results in life, and hey, you can implement this to businesses, to information systems, to basketball teams, to sports, to fitness, to personal development, to the podcast, to education. Like you know, only 20% of this podcast will give you the 80% of effect. Only 20%. Maybe you will listen the entire podcast, but only 20% of it will give you the most effect. You can implement this law in everything in life. In this episode, I will focus in our value proposal. Our value proposal is personal development. So I will focus the law in this dimension. But you can work it in everything that you do in life. You can generalize the law, and you can have good insights and new courses of actions and better strategies if you implement the Pareto's law. So, in other words, the best stuff of a thing comes only for the smallest stuff of the thing. In other words, I will try to explain the law very simply with different words and different manners. In other words, like if you concentrate in the right thing, you get most out of the thing. And if you concentrate in the wrong thing, you get almost none of the thing. That's another way to put it. Another way to put it is do not lose time and energy and investment of effort in doing everything about the stuff. Only invest time in what works about the stuff. Interesting idea. Interesting idea. Only invest effort in what work about the stuff. And now I will give you some examples in personal development, in my own life, maybe in your own life, on how this may play. But more importantly, I want you to be cognizant about this law for now on in order to make your own conclusions and to change your ways with your personal development. You see, I will give you an example with books. This is something that we discuss a lot here. Like millions of books, millions of books are published every year. And the catalog for books is a lot of them. A lot of books exist today, and each one of the books is a potential for you to read. So how you decide? Now, how you decide which book to read? This is a very powerful question, right? Because we are personal developers, we read. But what we read? That's the question. And more importantly, what should we read? What type of books we should read? Well, according to the Pareto's law, 80% of the powerful knowledge, of the knowledge that you are looking for, knowledge that will transform your life, is stored in only 20% of the books out there. So if you pick one of the books of the 80% of the books, you are doing almost nothing. So you may read millions and millions and millions of books, and if they are part of the 80% of books that doesn't have too much, you have nothing. You wasted your time, you see. But maybe if you only read 10 books, but those 10 books are part of the 20% that have 80% of the results, if you read only 10 books of that, maybe you know more than the average person out there, and you will be more successful, more intelligent, more capable, more effective, because you read what you have to read. Exactly the correct books. Interesting, huh? So it's not about reading, folks. It's not about reading. It's about reading the correct stuff, the good stuff. It's about filtering. It's about selecting. Evolution is all about selection. We select. So if you select all the books, you are in your way to extinction, because you are going to waste all your time reading shit. If you want to really evolve, you need to select well. Okay, what books? And now you ask me, Derek, what books then? How I know? How I know those 20%? Well, a good, there's no way to know. There is no way to know 100%. Every book is a risk. For example, when I bought this book, it was an expensive book. This book that I'm showing you is called Witchcraft, and I use it to do one of the best episodes so far in the podcast. That it is called the Witch Archetype, el arquetipo de la bruja. You can search it on YouTube or Spotify, in which I show you how to activate the witch powers in your psyche. This book, I bought it in a museum, and it cost like $60. So it's not the most cheapest book ever, right? But it was a risk. I didn't know if it was good or not. I didn't know if this book is part of the hypothetical 20% of good books. I took the risk, and for me, it worked. It's an excellent book. I recommend it. Sometimes you don't know until you risk. But what I do for improving my system of selection, my filter, is I go to the top books in history, because the top books of history, they are already pre-selected. Readers from around the world that read a lot, they already read books, and they say, this is not good, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is not good. So they did the Pareto's law in a social way. And of course, here you will have economical laws, you will have marketing, sales laws, social laws, cultural laws. It's not only social and the quality of the book. I get it. But we can say that we have a social filter that is working, and people already pre-selected. So if you go to Google right now and you put greatest books of all time, you will have a list. A list will appear, and some links will appear, and you can copy the list, and you can buy only those books, and you start reading there. It is not a guarantee, but you are making sure that at least you applied a filter. Now, that doesn't mean that an unknown book is not powerful. Maybe, of course. Some of the most powerful books, people don't even know about it. They are not commercial. But a lot of the great books of history, they have a great body of knowledge. Like, it's no joke. If you read Hamlet from Shakespeare, if you look for the best fictionary play theaters or play books or literature, Hamlet will appear, of course. And it's a great deal. Like I read Hamlet a couple of months ago and I was like, oh my gochi. Oh my gochi. The same with the Bible. The same with Don Quixote. See. Also in spiritual books. Best spiritual books of all time. What you will find. You will find Be Here Now. You will find The Power of Now. You will find the book of Secrets. You will find a lot of good books. So that is the Pareto's law. You focus only in what already works. Focus only in the greats, in the giants. As Isaac Newton says, I am crushing it because I am standing in shoulders of giants. You need to stand in shoulders of giants. Like go and search for the most famous philosophy books. You will read The Republic of Plato. You will read Politics of Aristotle. You will read Those Spoke Zarathustra. You will read Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. You will read books that you only read that book, man. You will be a totally different human being. A totally different human being. The same with movies. Movies are psychotechnologies. And I discussed this very in depth in my episode titled um, Movies Are the New Church. Go and search for this in YouTube or Spotify. But there's so many movies. How do you know? Well, the same with books. It's a risk. But you can go, and I did this, put a list in Google, like search for a list, the best movies of all time. And you will have a list of 100. Watch those. Watch those. Why do you want to watch a movie that no one likes? Watch the movies that already are changing lives. That people has been talking about those movies forever because those movies have an archetype in them. Those movies have a myth in the structure that is moving psyches forever. Like, for example, Harry Potter, for example, Star Wars, they will move psyches forever. Lord of the Rings, you see, Game of Thrones, they will move forever. There are so many techniques in personal development. How do you know what works? Well, what are the most famous? Oh, Derek, I am practicing this weird technique. I am holding my hand in the air while I scream, ah, la, la, la. Ah, la, 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 la. Maybe you can grow with that. I don't know. But is that famous? No, I just invented. Right? But you know what is commercial and famous and people has been talking about it for millennia? Meditation. Just sit down and meditate. That is the Pareto's law. If you meditate, you will be hacking your personal development. But a lot of you guys, you want to grow, but you don't want to meditate. Have you noticed this? And you have a lot of excuses why you don't want to meditate. You say, oh, I cannot concentrate, blah, 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 blah. I'm hyper. Dude, I am hyper as hell. And I have been meditating for 3 days nonstop. Best 3 days of my life. I did it a couple of years ago. 72 hours nonstop, only for eating a banana, drinking water, go to the bathroom, come back to the meditation. And I am a hyper as hell. Can you notice? Can you tell? You see? So it's a excuse, it's a limiting belief around meditation that a lot of people have. Although this is the Pareto's law. If you meditate, you will have 80% of the results only with 20% of the techniques. The 20% of the techniques is meditation, is yoga. A lot of people do not want to do yoga because it's difficult at first, because you have betrayed your body and you know it. Your body hurts. Your body is not flexible. Your body is not healthy, and you don't want to confront that in the mat. You don't want to be, you don't want to make peace with it in the mat. But it's part of the 20%. Like if you go to Enlightened Masters, you will kind of know that 80% of them do yoga. Easy. The same with YouTube videos. Like, how many YouTube videos do you watch? A lot. How many of them actually make you grow? Not a lot. Only 20% of them makes you grow as hell. So watch the content of those influencers, dude. Forget about the others. Forget about the other influencer that only makes you laugh. Forget about the other influencer that only entertain you. Forget about it. If you are really in personal development, concentrate. Concentrate in influencers or leaders or thought leaders or gurus, masters, whatever, that give you the most insight. Maybe it's me. I'm hopefully in your 20%, but I am not alone there. You have other masters, you have other gurus. Concentrate on those and you will grow as hell. But if you divide, sometimes Derek and sometimes the comedian and sometimes the entertainer, dude, you are only achieving 20% of the results. 20% of the results. If you concentrate in the 20% of the results or the people that give you the results, you will have 80% of the effect. Concentrate. Focus your effort. Pareto's law is about focusing on what works. Because what's already work, it will work better and better and better. Like, for example, a good way that I am doing the Pareto's law, for example, if I do a marketing campaign on Facebook ads, I can put maybe 10 videos promoting my psychotherapy service. And of those 10 videos, what I notice is that only two, 20%, give me the most ROI, return of investment. And the return of investment is a key performance indicator. Go and watch that episode after this one. These two episodes go in combination. And I think that I should be doing one of return of investments later on in the podcast, applied to personal development. Yeah, definitely I will do it. So what I do in my second campaign, I eliminate the 8 videos that only produce 20% of the results, and I just double down in the 2 videos in the 20% that gave me the most return of my investment, and then I synergize that and I have better results. Like, I spend less money in the second iteration of the campaign than in the first one with better results. Why? Because I focus on what already worked. The first campaign, it was for testing what of those 10 videos, those 10 ads work. Now I know which one of them work, and I only focus on those 2 or 3, maybe. It's not 20% perfectly. This will vary, but it's approximations. That is how it works in marketing. In your fitness, it's very easy. Like, have you noticed only 2 of 10 exercise that you do in the gym actually make you fit as hell, but you entertain with other exercises? Have you noticed? Maybe for the Instagram they are better, maybe just doing this type of app. But if you really want the abs, just do normal abs, and maybe the normal abs will make The apps. This is an interesting idea. When I was 20, when I was 19 and 20, I was part of the ROTC and I had the best apps of my life. And I only did back then a lot of the normal apps, like back and down, back and down, back and down, nothing exotic. Now I do a lot of exotic apps, right? Like the scissors, this other app, this other type of app, and I don't have apps. Why? Because maybe I'm focusing on the 80% that do not work. Maybe I should go and do only normal apps and that's it. But they are uncomfortable. They hurts a lot, right? They are painful. That's why we invent other variations. Maybe we should just stick with what it works. So apply this to the gym. Only do what it works. Apply this to the sex. Like, for example, if you are doing oral sex to your partner, and you know that there is a way, there is a mechanism in your oral sex to make your partner come easy, do it. Don't change the mechanism. Do it. Do it more and more and more. Maybe your partner can come 2-3 times before you even penetrate. And if you're the woman, before you even receive the penis in you, you see? So maybe you're the woman, maybe you don't want to make him come so quick. But if you're a man, you want her to come before you penetrate, of course. Of course. So do more of what works. Like just get to learn what excites your partner the most. Maybe it's a kiss in the neck, maybe is sucking her nipples, maybe is a specific type of mon. I don't know if that is the correct word. Of sound, sexual sound. Do that. Don't be so inventive. Okay, so I will do this sexual sound to see. And your partner will be like, what the hell is that? And you are like, oh yes, I was just experimenting. Yes, it's good to experiment. Don't get me wrong, it's good. But the point is that experiment, but go back then to what already works. And if you know that it's not that works, maybe it's the ooh, ooh, what excites your partner, then do ooh, ooh, quickly. And do it, and do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. Focus on it. Focus on it. Focus on the Pareto's law. Focus in what works. This is how you apply this in sexual dimensions. Also, you need to understand your energy cycles. Like, for example, in the morning, maybe you have your best energy. Well, do the 80% of the work of the day in the 20% of the day that you have your best energy. For me, I know that my best energy is in the morning. I try to do my most difficult task in the morning because I have the most power of will available to me, the better resource available to me. In the business, you will notice that some services and products sells better than others. Focus on those 20%. The 20% that brings the 80% of the revenue, of course. I know that you want to work the others because you want to open the how can I say this? You want to open the revenue channels, the cash flow channels, and to have a diversity of cash flow channels. I get it. But opening other channels, it doesn't mean not focusing on what is working. Like focusing on what is working 80% of the time and 20% to opening new channels. And of course, you will be always evaluating and assessing the Pareto's law. how it's changing. And the only way that you can do this right is with good key performance indicators. Because with the good key performance indicators, you are measuring and tracking your personal development, your results, your objectives. Are they matching or not? And hey, watch the episode of key performance indicators to have the better benefit of this idea. So to conclude, the reason that the reason for why I am progressing so quickly and maybe you are not is not the differences in our techniques. It's the differences in the metrics and in the focus and concentration. I use key performance indicators and I use the Pareto's law. I combine that with the techniques that I told you, that I teach you in this podcast, and this is the result. So now I want you to be thinking like this, and this will improve your game of personal development as never before. I hope you're ready, baby, because you are about to live the 80% of your great life with only 20% of your effort and potency. This is leverage. This is gaining. This is living as a winner. This is knowing how to win and living to win and winning to live. My name is Dr. Derek Israel. Leave a comment below how you will use the Pareto's law. I want an answer from you, okay? And I will be reading and answering to you. Share this with your friends in your social. Also, remember that you can donate on Patreon if this content is working for you. Donate on Patreon, man. Become a Patreon supporter. The link is on the description. Also, you can join our Telegram group and you can visit derekisrael.com. Go there. You can find all the courses that I have for you of self-transformation. I have the sexual mastery, self-love, life purpose, meditation, hyperproductivity course, the integrity course. Also in derekisrael.com, you will be able to find my services as a psychologist, as a coach 101, if you want that for your life, to transform your life with me. Also my service as a guru, spiritual guru. And also you will be able to find all the products and the merchandise that I will be launching soon. I see you in the next one. Pareto.